In a previous movie I discussed or described how we could use the hidden feature within the levels palette to reveal the whitest point or the lightest or brightest point of an image, and also conversely the darkest point. And I also described the importance of placing a colour marker down and then really keeping an eye out on the readings for the info palette according to that marker placement, so that you could protect the tones in your highlights and make sure that they don't blow out to 255 or pure white. And what I probably didn't mention is what we're trying to do here is protect a highlight tone that's important to you in the image. So not necessarily marking and protecting the brightest tone of the image, but marking a bright tone in the image that's important to you. Now I've got another one of these National Geographic desktop wallpaper images here on display for practice, and there are many thousands of these images if you go to the National Geographic website. Anyway, let's look at this image and just discuss further those points I've just been making. Now in this image there's virtually no sky. The sky's got completely no interest. I'm not really interested in preserving highlight detail in the sky. However, if it was my specific intention to show some detail in the snow, then I would be placing a colour marker down there and watching the RGB values as I make my levels adjustment to protect the highlights in the snow. But let's presume in this example that for some reason I want to protect the whitest parts or the brightest parts of the fur on some of these animals, because that's important to me for the print. So we'll do that now. We'll add a levels adjustment layer, and before we do anything else, let's just hold down the Alt key and reveal the brightest parts of this image, which are starting to come up as the snow in the foreground and maybe some of the area in the sky around the teepee there, but that's not important to me, the area of the sky. It's virtually detail-less, there's no detail there to begin with. So let's have a look again, and we're looking at the snow here as being the next whitest point, but I'm not really interested in protecting that highlight detail in the snow in this example. So let's have a look which are the brightest parts of the animals which start to show through. And really, as far as I can tell, we're looking at the white part of the tail here and some of the fur here around this animal that's close to the camera. So I'll hold down the Shift key and let's place a point there maybe. Now if we look at the marker there, we can see it's reading the highest value is 246. So as far as protecting the highlights at this particular point, we've managed to do that. Now okay, in this example, yes, we have lost some detail in the sky, but there was virtually nothing there anyway. And as I said, in this example I wasn't too interested in the snow. Now to be honest, I would be interested in the snow in general, but we'll just stick to the example at hand here, and I was particularly interested in protecting the highlights on the animal there. So I may even just back off a few points, go down to around 240 on there, and then we can add in some contrast this way. So in this particular example, what we're saying is, if I zoom into the animal here, that's on the print, and you can see some detail still left. There's some subtle shades of grey there, that we're protecting that detail so that we actually get some information on the print, because in this particular example that was the area of interest to me. So use this exercise and look at the previous example in the other tutorial movie, but bear in mind, when I say we're protecting the highlights, we're actually protecting the highlights that you deem important in your prints. Hope that makes sense.